Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the DK Show. I'm Colton. Across from me is Dominic. And for our first episode of this podcast, we have a special guest with us, and that is Carson Sturgell. So, Carson, thank you for joining us and sacrificing your time to answer a couple questions from us. And I guess we're going to get into it. The first question I got for you is, how do we feel about a successful season so far?
Thank you, Colton. Yeah, it's been a pretty fun season so far. Yeah, great to be on the show. Yeah, so I think I think this is game 7.
Yeah, this is game 7.
Yeah, game 7. But so far, the season's actually been pretty good. We really had one major hiccup so far, but I don't know. So far, we're doing actually pretty good. It feels like we have a solid team going for us right now.
All right. How was the environment going into the Seneca game with the locker room? There's a couple injuries on the team. This game's definitely been circled on the calendar for quite some time. So, again, what was the environment like going into that game?
Yeah, so going into Seneca, we felt pretty confident about what we can do, but I think underlying, I think there's a good portion of us that felt like this could be a toss-up game, and that we knew they were going to come out pretty strong and physical, but we didn't really know what extent, and it felt like we didn't know exactly how they're going to align to us when it comes to going against their defense. So I think that was a little bit unsettling, but I think our coaches did pretty well actually keeping us in line and trying to prepare us for that.
So, when does the football season actually begin for you guys?
Yeah, so actually, like starting out this season, I think one of our first practices was actually in, I think that would be June, when we do 7-on-7. We start working on our football stuff, and then we'll usually go down to Web City and do a 7-on-7 league there. That's probably like our first initial start to football, but really it starts to pick up a lot more once we get into July with our July camp, and we go 3 out of the 4 weeks, and it's pretty nonstop. A lot of football then.
Yeah, you would probably say that football is definitely a year-long sport, and there's really just a tiny bit of break in between, but you're still focusing on football.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Basically, after whenever we're done, we have a couple months, and then we go straight into winter weights, which is like not required, but obviously we're gonna go because we want to get better. And that starts pretty much right after we come back from what would that be? Yeah, Christmas break. Yeah, right after that, we pretty much start it, and we go for a while, and it's not too bad. I like winter weights.
Yeah, Carson, thanks for coming on. Honored to have you as our first guest here. So just want to kind of piggyback off of that last question. And so what's the communication like, the messaging from leadership on the team, things like your values, things that are consistently being spoken about as important for your identity as a team, whether that be from coaches or be from seniors, leaders on the team. What are some of those things that you guys would identify that you're bringing up in preseason or regular season games as you guys continue to progress?
Yeah, probably going into winter weights, a lot of focus is on building yourself as a team, being able to get through the weight room together, and being able to perform as a group out on the field when we're doing either conditioning, or we have the bars out and are doing lifts out there sometimes. But I'll say overall, things that just get repeated are just really anything that sparks conversation or is something that we've taken away from the previous season, or just funny things like Aiden Lovell at the homecoming bonfire just yelling "Let's get nasty," and that stuck so far this year, and it's actually hilarious.
Speaking of getting better as a team, and what's the team bonding situation like for you guys? Are there team bonding events that you guys have as a team, or is it pretty much just you and your friend group will go and do stuff?
Yeah, I'd say we have pretty decent bonding things that we do every once in a while. Like a couple times, I think it was after July camp, there's a huge group of us that went over to B Dubs and ate together, and we did that. And a couple of times we'd go over to Jesse Moore's house and we would swim or eat or whatever. We just hang out, but it's never really like the full team does anything together because like it's just a lot of people. But the like our full team, we kind of do trash pickup, and that's kind of like our team bonding, and we get to hear from our seniors like about what they feel about the brotherhood and what it means to them.
So one thing I've noticed over the years is the coaches make it a requirement almost to go to other sporting events and have the team support those other teams that have came and supported you on Fridays.
Yeah, our coaches do emphasize a lot on supporting everybody else in the other athletic programs in our schools since they come out and support us. So it's like almost like we're just paying back what they've given us. So we're just paying it back to them. And when we go to the volleyball games, it's pretty fun to do like dress up in the whatever the spirit night is. It's fun to do that. And then like cross country, we make sure that we have enough time to always go out there and support them because they're a lot of them are close friends with everyone else and the football team. We're pretty close.
So speaking of, other people coming out and helping support you guys, is there any other sport in particular that you enjoy watching, or another sport that you enjoy participating in or playing in?
Yeah, football's a lot, but I'd say I personally I enjoy track a lot. I find that really fun because it's a little bit more chill, but we still get a lot of work in, and season's overall pretty fun. It's good. It's lengthy too, which is nice. It's not just like a couple weeks and you're done. A couple months, so it feels nice.
So what's your favorite event that you like to do?
I like to do the 4x4 and pole vault. Those are the two things I've done the most and I've enjoyed pretty far. I actually made it to state on pole vault this year, last year.
So you could say you're successful on and around the field. Um, let's go ahead and move on to the McDonald County game, the homecoming game. And you got off to a pretty quick start there. You had 9 carries for 132 yards in the game, and 100 of those came in the first quarter with, I believe, 2 touchdowns. What were your thoughts after that first one?
Oh yeah, definitely going in after that first touchdown, I was like, oh wow, they were not expecting us to come out in this offense. It completely shocked them. They had no clue what we were running. And the thing is, one of our coaches was watching them warm up, and they actually their defense they lined up completely different than what we worked all week. So it kind of worked out. We were trying to get a jump on them, and they were trying to get a jump on us. So it kind of just worked out, and it just ended up being who had a better scheme going at that moment.
So for this game, we noticed that you guys went back to the spin offense, and so I was curious to know if that's something that you guys just continually practice, keeping your game plan, or if that's something that you specifically prepared for this game.
I'd say we kind of keep it in the our kind of formation package every once in a while, but it's never like we're gonna designate and run it one game. It's something that we'll run a couple plays out of, typically, or how it has been the past couple of years. But I think we're maybe starting to return to it, which I would be okay with. It's a really nice offense and took us far earlier in Lamar's state championship run.
Yeah, I've after growing up watching that offense as well as being able to watch it again with the McDonald County game. One of the things in particular that I really enjoy about that offense is the ability that just by its nature it has to keep the defense in check and to not just overly commit to assignments and guess the play or guess their assignment. it really makes it to where they have to have eye discipline, and especially for a team that runs the ball a lot, it adds a little bit of a complexity to the offense that otherwise just wouldn't be there. So with this game, one of the things that we noticed in this game was that you guys came out extremely hot. Started off the game really strong, and so I was curious for this game. What did halftime look like for you guys? Is that something where you went in and there were obvious adjustments that you guys had to make, or what was the message from coaching like during halftime for this game?
So, yeah, McDonald County game, when we went into halftime, we tried to stick with that offense style, but we had to make a couple adjustments here and there on a couple plays because they were able to get a character through, or not a character, a person through in a couple spots. So we just had to make a quick adjustment to that and just change how we block it up a little bit. But besides that, we tried to keep everything pretty much the same. And after that, the coaches tried to have us run our normal offense again, which is it worked a little bit, but I think the fact that McDonald County prepared for that for the whole week, that they were able to kind of stop us a little bit with that.
So I don't really know much about you at a younger age outside of swim. So did you play youth football in Lamar?
Yeah, I started in on youth football third grade. I also played flag football the second and first grade year as well when they offered it. So yeah, I've been a part of football pretty much my entire life.
So going back to such a young age, you mentioned Lamar has been on a successful run for many, many years, like 12, I think it was 2011. We won our first state championship. Is the offense the same as the high school's offense, or was it changing as you went throughout from youth football to middle school to high school?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to what the high school ran. We back then we ran the same offense as the high school, but we had to do a couple adjustments because we were just kids. We didn't know like the in-depth blocking schemes and whatnot, like doing Brentwood pulls or doing our what we call our Gator call or Florida call. We didn't really know anything like that, so it was up front and it was more just like block the person in front of you. Unlike now, it's a full on scheme where you have to know who you got and any checks if someone walks up or someone blitzes that we have to pick up and whatnot. But overall, it's pretty similar to what we ran at McDonald County.
How much do you think having the same offense goes into the success of the program for this long?
Yeah, I think it helps us get like a good entry on what we're actually running. So, like if we run sweep, we've kind of ran a sweep similar. So it's just a couple adjustments and we already basically know it completely. So it helps a lot actually developing you into understanding the offense that your high school runs overall.
Yeah, so speaking of, going from middle school, junior varsity to playing for the high school, um, did you notice a change in the expectation or kind of a weight from the legacy of, going into the high school with all of the success that Lamar's had? Was that a noticeable difference, or was it more of just like, hey, we're just coming in and continuing in what we've already kind of been raised in this system of Lamar Brotherhood and things like that?
Yeah, no, the whole premise of the brotherhood and our legacy, I feel, is actually really important and embedded in our program itself. To where that if you're in football, you've heard it and you know it, and even the surrounding community knows like what football means to us in this town, and that I think that's part of the reason why we put so much effort and time into it is because it's we want to do it for the community and allow them to see what we can do.
Let's touch back on your youth football career. Did you play much defense that you can remember, or were you pretty much offense?
Ooh, I really don't remember too much actually. Yeah. Yeah, junior high I played, I think, corner. Yeah, I played corner junior high, and then I think in youth football I also played corner as well, and it wasn't bad because I was a little bit smaller. I was scrawnier compared to everyone else, but it worked out fine. But going into high school, they my freshman and sophomore year, I kind of stayed at that spot, and this year they tried to work me in at linebacker a little bit, but I didn't really fill out that role. I wasn't too comfortable with it, and the coach noticed that and asked me, and pretty much kept me back at corner.
All right, let's touch back on the brotherhood. And speaking of brother, what was it like being able to play with your brother last year? I know you didn't play too much varsity, but I'm sure practices were rather interesting between you two.
Oh, that was actually really fun. Yeah, practices, I would get thrown around by him all the time. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, just making him mad. I don't think he found it too funny a couple times, but overall, I think having like an older brother or figure like that on the team for you brings a lot of camaraderie and like also ultimately the idea of the brotherhood itself, that we're just all basically a big family.
So every Thursday, you guys go together as a team, and you will go eat at a church or something. What do you? How do you feel that helps you guys as a team?
Overall, I'd say team meals pretty important. It lets us gather just as a football team and actually enjoy each other's company outside of the football field together. And it was pretty good too. And the community puts it on, and it's usually sponsored by a church or a business. So it's really nice to see them do that for us, and then also getting someone to talk to us before as well. Before we eat is also really nice. And overall, I think it's just a good experience for us.
Yeah, so speaking of building character and things like that, how would you say the Brotherhood or the Lamar football program has helped you develop as an individual, or really into adulthood or into manhood? How would you say that it's been developing you or preparing you for those kind of things in life?
Yeah, definitely football does help build your character in terms of being able to push yourself past like a mental barrier that you may have of not being able to or not wanting to do something but still doing it because you have to, and being able to endure those uh, circumstances that come up. And I would say overall, like it just helps you become a better person in general because you'll learn to be able to take on those challenges and still have a positive outlook, which could be in a leadership as like a father, a brother. It can really be like anything. It's pretty good.
All right. So it being Monday and Monday night, to be exact, what is the week? The football weeks. Okay, I
You had it.
too imperfect. Too imperfect. All right. Well, with it being Monday night and you just getting done with practice a few hours ago, each week you come in to a new week, fresh start. What does the overall practice look like for a Monday?
So the practices going into Monday, we usually get a scouting report posted to our Google Classroom, which is ran through the school. So it's like just on our school platform, so we can access it from our school Chromebooks, our phones, anything that's linked to that Google Classroom. So we'll get that. We'll usually read it Sunday night and throughout the Monday, so we understand what we're going into for practice on for Monday afternoon. And with that, what usually it is, since we're in season now, all the JV usually has a game, so it's just varsity players there Monday. So it's a little bit lighter in terms of physicality, but it's a lot of mental work, being able to read your keys, get lined up, and run to the football, anything that we need.
So did you say that you have a particular day that you guys stop to look at film?
Yeah, so Tuesday mornings are offensive line and our wings, so like our T and Z, will and tight ends sometimes. We'll come in usually Tuesday mornings before school, and we'll watch maybe 30 minutes of film to see what their personnel's like, what our assignments could be for certain plays, or sometimes a couple times actually, we've just watched film on ourselves at practice and see what we've done there, if we've messed up anything or if there's anything we can fix or work on to better our schemes.
What would you say the overall atmosphere going into this Silver Tiger game, coming off a loss from Seneca a couple weeks ago? Is the overall atmosphere still positive, or how are we feeling in the locker room?
The overall atmosphere, I would say right now is just keep your head down and keep working at it until Friday when we can actually play them, because we know they're a good team and they feel like it's their year. So we're anticipating a lot of effort put forth by them in a very physical game.
So looking to this Nevada game, do you guys have any key players or formations or anything that you guys are looking for in this game, things that you're going to try and highlight and try and zone in on as a team?
Uh, I don't know, not really. We know that their running backs are pretty quick, so I think just keeping an eye on them and making sure they can't get outside of our corners or our safeties will help a lot, keeping them contained and being able to stop their run game. And then probably another big factor we're gonna have to look at is their tight ends, because normally they block, but we've picked up that they will actually release on passes sometimes, and we'll just have to keep an eye on that to make sure we can pick it up so they don't score on us.
All right, I'm going to ask one question to wrap this up. What's one thing you don't necessarily like about football other than trying to catch the ball?
Yeah, my hands aren't good, but probably my least favorite part about football, which is like just a very minute thing. It feels like it's just always having bruises or having random cuts or whatnot, just randomly from practice that you have no clue how you got at all.
Well, Carson, we appreciate you taking your time out of your day and joining us to answer some questions, and we wish you the best of the luck this weekend and with the rest of your season. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first episode of the DK Show. I really appreciate you for listening through this, and we hope to do more in the future. And make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and we will see you all next week.